Britain keeps changing, doesn't it? I've just finished one meeting and I've got another one planned in about an hour, and I thought I would have a cup of tea in St Pancras. And in the past you could go off into this wonderful little breakfast lounge and join the breakfast. You can't anymore. You're stuffed into this awful place here with piped music. Well, it's not so awful. It's rather beautiful and wonderfully saved for the nation by John Betjeman. I was looking at the Telegraph, and the Telegraph report offers yet another bout of speculative forecasting, even more than I actually talked about earlier this morning, ahead of Rachel Reeves' November the 26th budget. A budget that increasingly looks like an economic and political crossroads. The paper suggests the Chancellor will raise the dividend tax rate, a move framed as an effort to align income from wealth and income from work. It's not something I expected, but there it is. It's all sketched out in the Telegraph. It could raise around $2 billion, but would inevitably reignite debates about fairness, investment and Labour's trustworthiness on tax. If true, this measure marks Reeves's first major break with her manifesto promise not to increase the tax burden on working families. It also underlines a truth the Treasury has been whispering for weeks, the fiscal hole, attributed to Rishi Sunak's fiscal hole, but in fact it's a hole that Rachel Reeves has really developed herself, estimated at £30 billion, is too deep to fill by efficiency drives or economic growth alone. Reeves's argument that the national interest must take precedence over political convenience is, in essence, an appeal for moral cover to abandon a manifesto constraint. But the political cost will be substantial. Raising dividend taxes will disproportionately affect small investors, self-employed business owners, and pensioners who depend on share income. At the same time, the Resolution Foundation's fingerprints are all over this proposal, a reminder that Labour's economic thinking remains heavily shaped by technocratic social democrats rather than entrepreneurial instincts. 4 of the Foundation's former staffers now serve in Reeves' budget team. The optics of this alignment are tricky. The Conservatives are now branding the plan as a hammer blow to investment and saving. So Mel Stride's warning that Reeves is going back on her word yet again will resonate with middle-income professionals who already feel squeezed by frozen thresholds, high mortgage costs and stagnant public services. For them, this is not redistribution but punishment. And behind the headlines, the dividend tax story is just one symptom of a broader problem. With the 4 main taxes, income tax, VAT, corporation tax and national insurance, politically frozen, Reeves has boxed herself into a corner. Any serious attempt to raise funds now depends on marginal tweaks, trimming allowances, tightening reliefs, recasting exemptions. These moves generate revenue, but at the cost of simplicity and confidence. Every adjustment signals that Labour's stability message is being eroded by fiscal reality, and yet Reeves is not wrong about the scale of the challenge. The public finances are worsening as growth stalls, welfare reversals bite, and local government cries for bailouts multiply. Northamptonshire's Reform UK councils forecasting deficits of £45 million next year is just one illustration of the structural squeeze. Reeves cannot ignore the pressures from councils, hospitals and schools any more than she can ignore bond markets. Still, there are risks in appearing to tax success. The UK's post-Brexit recovery, the UK's post-Brexit economy, there's no recovery of course, already suffers from chronically low investment capital flight and subdued business confidence. Raising the dividend rate or abolishing the £500 allowance could deter precisely the kind of productive saving Reeves says she wants to encourage. Even modest investors, those with a few shares or ISAs, could face more complexity and less reward. If Reeves stops short of a full-blown increase to 6.5% as the Resolution Foundation suggests, and opts instead for a smaller rise, say to 12.75%, she may achieve a compromise between fiscal prudence and political restraint. But make no mistake, the symbolism of another tax rise, however small, will overshadow the mathematics. In the end, the budget speculation reflects a deeper uncertainty about Labour's economic identity. Reeves speaks the language of responsibility, but faces the dilemmas of scarcity. To fill the gap, She must choose between breaking promises or breaking confidence. Either way, the November the 26th budget will determine whether she remains the cautious accountant of Labour's fiscal redemption story or the Chancellor who blinked first under the weight of her own orthodoxy. I think also the writing is on the wall for her fairly rapid retirement. Rachel Reeves is a sobriquet, I think, that she will adapt very quickly.